What's going on, everybody? Another episode of Verbal Garbage coming at you hot, live, and somewhat sporadically these days, if you will. So just an update for everyone. My the house I currently reside in with my parents has been decimated by the flood. Just got off the phone with my dad via FaceTime. He just got a couple big checks in the mail from the flood insurance. The house is progressing well. So we're getting there. There's light at the end of the tunnel, and once we're back in, nestled into the new let's call it the new studio that'll be blossoming up soon. I'll turn my bedroom into a podcast studio, and boy, do we got some guests clamoring, chomping at the bits to get in here. I don't want to give too much away, but I think you guys will enjoy it. And I hope people are still listening out there. I know I'm not putting them out as much, but today, just had a few things I needed to get off my chest and maybe air out over the airwaves and maybe feel a little bit better about myself. For those of you who don't know and who aren't watching the video, I happen to be a giant Philadelphia sports fan, and yeah, that Super Bowl was a tough one to swallow. I have a lot of thoughts on it. I can go in a lot of different directions. I'll try to keep myself somewhat contained, but I thought a fun little thing to do right now would be to break down the five worst Philadelphia sports losses in my lifetime as a fan. So I pulled up the iPad, got a couple little things going on there, and just so I can, reference the dates and such a little bit more accurately, I thought I'd bring them up. But not in the most exact order, but it's definitely the top five for me. And if you disagree, feel free to shoot me a message and let me know. We can talk about it. It's a fun discussion point. But man, these first two I'm on the fence, like which one was worse. I'll go in descending order. So we'll start with number five. That Raptors Sixers game, conference semifinals, game 7, May 12th, 2019. That or the Trae Young, Ben Simmons game, mainly the Ben Simmons game, Sixers Hawks. So the Sixers got the number 5 and the number 4 spot, kind of fitting because out of the 4 teams, they're my third favorite. Philly's always second favorite, Eagles number 1, and those beautiful little Flyers. Sorry guys, just follow when you're good, and luckily for me, I don't have to follow much. So yeah, the Sixers Raptors game, a lot of you remember, that was the squad that had JJ Redick and Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid and Tobias Harris. And, we have Mike Scott, the guy who notorious for being a Redskins fan and getting in a fight while he was a Sixers at an Eagles game, fighting with Eagles fans because he was a Redskins fan. Anyways, that was tough. And then we had the Ben Simmons game, where thought our team was good that year. Thought Ben Simmons might have been coming out of his shell a little bit, and boy, were we wrong. So, he notoriously passed up the dunk, and it's not necessarily the game that was the hardest to swallow. I think the hardest part for me was just coming to the grips and acknowledging that the Sixers process, if you will, if you're a Philly fan. And for those of you guys that aren't a Philly fan, stick around. I got a couple little topics fun after this, but this is something I need to get off my chest. I've been tired of crying about the Super Bowl to family and friends, bitching about it, making not excuses, but just very angry. So very upset, very heartbroken. So I just thought I'd come on here and kind of voice out my thoughts. So in 10 years, I can listen to my dumbass self and listen to these little griping points and the losses that I've endured as a privileged white American male, crying about sports team losses. But that's what we do here. So yeah, 5 and 4 kind of interchangeable, number 3, and there's a part of the reason the podcast really haven't been in full steam. We got 2 loud animals that reside in the residence here that are always yapping and barking at the wind gust and any little thing. So I don't know how many baseball fans are listening, but the 2011 season for the Phillies was kind of the end. We started in let's call it 2006, really starting to chomp at the tails of the Mets, the Braves. Nationals weren't really something yet, but they were starting to potentially build into what they became. And then we got their best player, and they rebuilt since then. But so 2011 season, I think the Phillies went 102 and 60 or 162. Just high hopes. The pitching staff. That was the year we had Cliff Lee and Roy Halladay. They had the dream lineup. That's just Rivals this year's team. I'm not sure which one was more lovable and more exciting. The past year's team, 2022 Phillies, but that 2008 squad through 2011, it was just an amazing time. And I'll probably have to pull up the stat box here because I just remember like it was me, my brother, and one of our old buddies, Nick, and we were watching it on his couch. And just the feeling after that game ended, the drive home, like there were so many moments that just like still stick to me this day. I remember exactly where I was. I remember how I felt. And I didn't think I'd go through that again. Um, Honorable mention, real quick, for the losses. The Phillies in the World Series. We were so happy to be there. I don't think anyone really expected us to get that far, and the Astros were just a better team. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They were. Their pitching staff was great. Their bullpen was great. Their lineup was crazy. Phillies need to address the bullpen, address the starting pitching a little bit, and I think we're going to be back this year, much like the Eagles. But I'll save that. So this Cardinals Phillies game, I mean, Roy Halladay, our ace, was on the mound. Our one of our aces, one of our three aces. St. Louis scores one run in the first inning, and they don't score anything the rest of the game. Halladay gave up 6 hits, 1 run. The Phillies had 3 hits that night. They went against Chris Carpenter. Had neck issues, was dealing with some shit, but still an absolute stud. He came on and just dealt us the shreds, and it's just brutal, and the amount of pot that was smoked that night couldn't even ease the pain. And, this Super Bowl, I was, traveled with it, brought it over, put it in the garage. I'll save it. All right, let's save it. Okay, so anyway, that Phillies Cardinals game, just devastating. Chris Carpenter, the winner, Roy Halladay, the lose, just horrible, heartbreaking. That was, you know, I guess if we think about it, there's been plenty of Eagles losses and Sixers and Flyers and Phillies losses throughout the years that have haunted me. But I think, in the finals in 2000 with the Sixers, they weren't going to beat Shaq. I mean, let's just be honest. They weren't. Shaq and Kobe were together. They were young. They were coming on the scene. We weren't ready. Iverson and his supporting cast just simply didn't have enough. So there are losses that hurt, but then there are losses that are just like, right. So number two, let's Eagles Patriots, right? Super Bowl. That was probably like my first real heartbreak as a sports fan. Your team gets there. You got Terrell Owens playing on the broken leg. You got McNabb. You got the amazing defense. Andy Reid trying to win his first Super Bowl. Andy Reid. Yeah. Eagles went 13-3 that year. I think it was I don't remember. They won 5 NFC champion. They went to 5 NFC championship games in a row. I don't know if that was like the second year in a row or the last year, whatever. But Jacksonville, Florida, a little bit of foreshadowing. My Eagles migrating south, just like the Bites family took the migration, except for Jenny and Jill and Sash. Shout out to the Northeastern tribe. We'll be there in June. Jersey Shore. But yeah, 0-0 in the first quarter, 7-7 second quarter, 7-7 third quarter. New England outscores us by 10 in the fourth quarter. That 3-point differential was the deciding factor. Just a field goal loss. It was probably one of those other Adam Vinatieri games where Adam Vinatieri, I'm trying not to read the whole thing here, but that's exactly what I'm doing. The Eagles ended up making a comeback and lost, so it wasn't a last second field goal, but the issue with the early 2000s Eagles was how good they were and how ungrateful my dad and I were. How we were notorious for always being Andy Reid and Donovan McNabb haters. The two that just got us every year to really consistency, competitiveness. I don't know why we didn't like them, but we didn't. Still don't. McNabb, I mean, that kind of aged well, I feel like. And Andy Reid, gonna go and end up going down as one of the greatest coaches of all time, and 2 Super Bowls with the team that moving on. Super Bowl loss number 2, Eagles number 2, Super Bowl loss number 1. Now I know some of you out there listening might accuse your boy of a little bit of recency bias, and sure, it's fresh, 2-day-old wound, but where do I go with this? So for those of you who don't know, the Eagles currently were on an incredible season, had arguably the coach of the year, arguably the MVP, best team, debatable, but I mean, if you're a football fan and you watch all year, you know the Eagles were the best team. I mean, the roster, everything all around. Well, it's just, it perplexes me when you come to the Super Bowl, everyone's banking on Mahomes and his, I don't even know what to say at this point about his high ankle sprain, quote unquote. I mean, like I've talked to my dad at nauseum about and friends, a real high ankle sprain is a 4 to 6 week injury. I don't care if you're the best athlete in the world, whatever. You're not playing on that the next week and then like still playing on it 2 weeks later. It's just like he heard it in the Bengals game, played the second half, and then came out in this Super Bowl and supposedly retweaked it and was limping off the field. And then later in the game, he makes a 30-yard scramble. Like, yeah, am I bitter? Am I a little upset? Sure. He's the best quarterback in the league. I'm not here to deny that, but I think his theatrics and his acting are something to be called into question, and I'll be the one to do it. Um, I'm not scared. I think he was fabricating. I think it helped teams possibly underestimate him. The Eagles' lack of pass rush was astounding. It was disturbing. It was alarming. It was frightening. I, as I was watching the game, I noticed right away, like on the first and second drive, they're not generating any pass rush and they're not covering Kelsey, which whoever wants Jonathan Gannon, I know you're already gone, and Shane Steichen, bye. Like, uh, I don't even know what to say about it. I mean, the first half, they were keeping Mahomes off the field. The time of possession was completely on our side. Everything seemed to be going our way. I don't remember exactly. Like, we held Mahomes to under 200 yards passing. He had 3 touchdowns. Pacheco had a nice game. Mahomes had a good game. We're losing to receivers like Juju Smith-Schuster and Kadarius Toney, who was a fucking giant. So it was just haunting, like that punt return, longest punt return in Super Bowl history. How does it happen at that time of the game? And you know what special teams are going to do in a playoff game, let alone a Super Bowl game, the kind of momentum swings that they can usually result from. I really just don't know. This was their year. They got Jalen Hurts on his rookie deal before they're going to be paying him north of 40-50 million a year. The offseason was great. It was fun. We were able to add the likes of Hassan Reddick, of CJ Gardner Johnson, of AJ Brown. We got the number 10 pick. We got midseason acquisitions. Like, I know he didn't play much, but Robert Quinn. Then we got Ndamukong Suh and Linval Joseph. We were able to add Bradbury via free agency, who ended up, you know, doing that little hold, if you want to call it that, or whatever you want. Like, listen, I'm not disputing that it was a hold. It was a penalty. My problem is you're going to call a ticky-tack play like that happens on every single play of every single game. You're going to make that deciding call in the biggest game of the season, of the biggest games of these guys' lives, and you're going to let the refs dictate it. Just terrible. I was watching the game with, that's the other part of this. It sucks is like the Super Bowl party that I was at. We always have fun ones at Neil's house every year, but this one was just, we had one table with the fucking tasty cakes and the cheese steaks, and just like we had a lot of like Jersey themed stuff going on there, and it was just great. And like the amount of people there, the food, like everything was on point. I brought over my buffalo chicken dip and an Eagles crock pot. We had all the Eagles gear going. I'm still rocking the fucking watch band and the hat. Like, we ride as a team, but it was a really tough loss, and I'm not really sure when I'm going to get over that. And I just thought coming on here and talking about it would be kind of fun and kind of give me a chance to reel off some of the moments that I've endured as a fan and what they've been like. So I don't know, guys, just some fun stuff. So, couple things about me and the work and other little fun life things, because that's really what this podcast is, right? Is me just talking verbal garbage. It's me talking about garbage. There's garbage verbally leaving my mouth, so it's perfect. My mouth is like a garbage deposit, whereas your ears are my fuck. I'm depositing my garbage into your ears via microphone and a shitty laptop that soon we will have a MacBook, and I will be so much happier with the recording process, the quality, and everything. But right now, we're getting the thoughts out in the airwaves, right? So we got the little, reality corner that's a little MIA right now. I haven't been able to watch much reality TV, but I saw an advertisement during the Super Bowl about farmers looking for love. And real quick, while we go with that, the Super Bowl, we get hyped up the halftime show. It was entertaining, but there was a time, when I was growing up, and I'm still doing the thing, so nothing's changed on that. And I'm trying. Where growing up, myself and my brother would watch the Super Bowls with my parents, like what they call gourmet party, which was a bunch of their friends would all come over. We'd have the gambling squares, like we'd do all. It was just amazing, and I just remember every single commercial was a banger. Like you couldn't talk during commercials because everything was must see. It was funny. It was making you laugh, and I don't know if it's just like the oversaturation with social media and everything these days, and we're seeing a lot more things, so maybe we're not as appreciative, but I've grown to fucking detest commercials. And even during the last 5, 6 years of Super Bowls, I'm like, really? Like to me, this year, it was like a plug and play with celebrities, like you just watch a commercial and you just see a celebrity, like they just pick one, drop them in the commercial, advertise the product on, pick, pluck, drop, go, pick, pluck, drop, go. So I just thought that that's a little like the amount of money that you're spending on these commercials already, and then you're gonna get some celebrity like that who's already demanding a crazy rate. Like hire me for a fucking Doritos commercial, and I'll think of some crazy shit, or for a razor commercial, like a Hello Touch. Like there's plenty of commercials. You could spend the money on the time slot, but then have me to be your jester and your puppet, and I'll ask for very little. Maybe let me wear a verbal garbage T-shirt so I can advertise a little bit, and just ideas. One day I'll get my breakthrough on a commercial, and I'll really wow some of these people. I got the acting chops. So the one thing I want to talk about on TV was finally got into the White Lotus, and for some reason I've been putting that off. I don't know why. I knew it was going to be good. My problem was, I guess, was a misinterpretation of the show. I thought it was like a murder mystery and a who done it. You go to a hotel and there's all these people and someone dies and you're like, okay, who died? Who did it? Boy, was I wrong. One of the episodes, just sitting back, laying down on the futon, Curdy's little futon, and higher than a damn kite, just sitting there, mouth breathing, probably eating some fucking. Let's track back. That night, it was probably no. The cinnamon rolls was another night. We had the Doritos, we had the Girl Scout cookies. The late night fiend is just he's out of control right now. So, I'm just watching an episode, just enjoying it, laughing, and out of nowhere, there's a guy on his knees eating another dude's tailpipe, and I just texted my sister and I was like, only me, would watch a show thinking it's a murder mystery and it turns into a gay porno where a dude's eating another dude's ass. But still got a laugh out of me. Still pretty good. And they tied it back into the story pretty well. So just didn't think I'd be watching one dude lick another dude's Chinese spy balloon. So we're going to try to get over that and on to season 2. And as the dogs bark, I don't really have a dog point. I was going to try to transition to like a little dog segment, but don't have it. The next thing I wanted to bring up, let's see if I can get the article, was NFL free agency is a big hot topic right now, right? And one of the biggest profile guys in the market is Aaron Rodgers. And he's trying to decide where he's going to go next year. And do you know how he's going to decide that, guys? No? Good. Let me tell you. He has a darkness retreat that is, I believe, happening as we speak. And my man is trying to see the light about his future, right? So he went on the Pat McAfee show, and here's a quote from ESPN.com, just reading it. I've got a pretty cool opportunity to do a little self-reflection and some isolation, Rodgers said. And then after that, I feel like I'll be a lot closer to a final decision. So what is Aaron Rodgers' darkness retreat? Well, guys, if I was using my greatest hypothesis here, I'm imagining my boy is hanging out with another like vegan plant girl who's got natural deodorant and just like me, but maybe a potential dreadlock situation going on there, just dirty, earthy, natural. And I think they're gonna go out there, they're gonna eat some ayahuasca, and he's gonna see the light. I don't know exactly how that's gonna determine the next football team he's gonna go to. Personally, the Vegas Raiders seem like a no-brainer. They got Devontae Adams. It's close enough to California where he's from. I don't know. Is that like crazy? Some people are saying the Jets, some people are saying some other stuff, but the ayahuasca retreat, I mean, our boy, I feel like is just at this point, he's kind of doing anything he can to get, he's talking about DMT. It's like he wants attention. He's starving for attention. And I think we're so fascinated with drugs and hallucinations, especially with Rodgers. He's kind of an easy target where, he came out last year about his whole saying he was immunized and then he wasn't. And people got all up in arms about that. So, you know what I just realized? I'm like scrolling here for some news articles and I'm like, it's a beautiful Valentine's day, beautiful night. And, people my age are potentially going out to eat tonight and consummating their love and potentially producing an offspring. And I'm sitting here talking about 5 times I've cried over sports and couldn't be happier to do so. um, I talked last time I was on here about the little thing going on with work, this whole miscommunication and this issue. Well, I faced my demons and returned to that shop today, and I'm here to report to you guys that 2 shops in a row today sincerely apologized to me and really took ownership of their actions and admitted they were in the wrong. And who's someone who can be a little quick to snap and get a little defensive, especially when you're doing a job where you're selling and replacing and fixing tools and you're waiting 6, 7, 8 weeks to get stuff. It can be a little frustrating. And then when you're doing that, all day, every day, 5 days a week, it can start adding on to you and building up. And I've been trying to do a better job of control my emotions and be a little bit more professional. And, there were multiple times he was texting me pretty degrading things and pretty confrontational and aggressive things. And I would, type up and then delete and just simmer in my thoughts. And I got to say, guys, I'm very proud of that. I've had a couple good weeks in a row now, sales wise. I just today deposited the biggest paycheck I've ever made in my life. So, Kapkunka, very happy for that. Really just relieved for my parents, that they're getting that flood insurance taken care of. Hiring that public adjuster had done did really good things. And I know there was some dark times where my dad was looking super depressed. I was, just really in my own head about I thought I wasn't gonna have my job anymore, and I was like, what am I gonna do? Blah blah blah. And should I move and try to relocate and start fresh? I was texting all my sisters trying to figure out, hey, can I move back to Jersey or Virginia and help me find a spot? Blah blah blah. And it was gaining some traction. I thought it was serious, but I just took some time to reflect on all the cool people that I've met since I've been down here in Florida. I feel like I've really cultivated a lot of good friendships, met a lot of cool people from be it selling tools or doing jujitsu. Just a ton of cool people. I try to go golfing or keep in touch with all these guys and really let them show them how much I care about their friendship because I really believe in that. When you got family and friends to reach out, and I try to be the one that if you don't talk to someone for a few months, you reach out and say, hey, how's it going? How you doing? And might have named the episode. Um, but yeah, it's huge. And if anyone out there is listening that I haven't talked to in a while, let's just reconnect. I'm such an easy person to reconnect with, and I truly care about anyone that I've made friendships with before. And it's pretty easy to know if I care about you. I mean, I try to treat people the way I want to be treated, but even going above and beyond, whether it's the customer service side or a friendship side or a brother or an in-law, whatever the case might be, take that seriously. Me providing joy, spreading joy. And that's why I want to start doing something like this where I could just come on here and be a doofus for 30 to 40 minutes and talk some shit, get some strangers on here, pick their brain, just ask questions. And once I get it set up back where for a little bit more of a conducive environment for me and my guests, we'll start getting more interviews going. And just a really good way for me to learn, step outside of my comfort zone, to engage with people that I don't know anything about and try to keep it fresh and exciting, try to ask them good questions, try to learn simultaneously, all while trying to provide people that are listening with something entertaining, whether you're driving to work or walking your dog. If I can be in your ear, making you laugh or think or whatever, that would be ideal for me. I'm trying. I'm not gonna lie. ever since I've been put on commission at work, I've been a lot more motivated to be at work, stay at work, and make the money. So like getting the jujitsu has been a lot tougher over these last 2, 3, 4, 5 months, and doing the podcast, like all these things that I was in a routine, like I was in a really good routine right before that whole shitty thing happened, where go to work, get home, be able to cook myself something to where it's suitable, where I can have enough from now to the end of the day and don't have to worry about eating. So I'd be able to cook. I'd be able to go to jiu-jitsu, do a Peloton ride, like all in one day. And now I'm struggling to do a jiu-jitsu or a Peloton ride a day. I'm barely getting a podcast out. But I'm staying at work longer. I'm working harder. I'm trying to make more money so I can afford a really nice studio one day, because this is not something that's going away. I know I haven't been steady doing them, but this is truly a passion of mine. I love talking. I love having people on. I love asking questions. I love talking about anything, speaking my opinion. I'll have someone on who's completely different than me with completely different views and opinions, and I welcome that. Definitely want to get my boy Mike Penn back on again, the original co-host of the pod, and just chop up some sports and some life and just see if we can do some current events and have some fun with it. I want to get some of my good buddies on, like Sharif, that has been a regular on here, somewhat of a regular. I think I'm gonna kind of give up on getting my brother on here. I don't think that's ever gonna happen. I think he's as he's gone into the law enforcement world, he might have gotten a little too big time for his brother, which I get. I already got Jill on here. I'm gonna try to get my two older sisters when I go to New Jersey in June. Getting Jenny on here is an absolute must. If you don't know my older sister Jenny, boy, are you in for a treat. Just to give you a little insight, and I'm sorry, she hasn't really listened yet, actually, so I'm not sorry. Um, just to give you, like, my sister Jill doesn't really have a nickname. Like, we call her Jill, or maybe Willis, like from which we're talking about Willis. We used to call her that a little bit, but Jenny was fortunate enough to get a few nicknames courtesy of your boy. The first one was the double patty assassin. Back, let's say 5, 6 years ago. Hold on for a water break. Check. 5 or 6 years ago. Now probably even a little longer, 7, 8 years ago. We were constantly going on the road with Jenny, going to concerts, like whether it was just her and me, or me, her and Kurt, or me, her, Kurt, and her friends. Like she has like an online Foo Fighters posse that all meet up and stalk the band throughout the country, and they're a bunch of fucking weirdos, except for my sister. No, she's weird. So they would just do it all, and they'd be able to get tickets to things that other people wouldn't be able to go to. Like I got to go to some of the most incredible Foo Fighter shows, and thank God I did, because now rest in peace to Taylor Hawkins. We won't be able to see that shit again. But like I went to when they had a TV show on HBO, Sonic Highways. I got to go to the debut of that with Jenny, the first episode ever, the world premiere of it. Like we were there in the building with Dave Grohl and Foo Fighters and Heart. Hart played some music. Joan Jett played a little bit of music. The Foo Fighters played some stuff. We got to meet. Like I met Taylor and Pat. She met Dave that night. Like it was a night I'll never forget. But nights like that had led to other nights and longer nights. And for like we went to Firefly Festival in Delaware, and we went to Washington D.C. for the 20th anniversary of the Foo Fighters, which was like an all day thing. We drove there the night before. The morning of, they had like a 4th of July barbecue breakfast with Dave Grohl and a motorcycle rally. So Kurt and Jenny went there on the motorcycle. Like we trailed the motorcycle up. Kurt was driving it. Almost had a crazy accident doing it. First time driving a trailer for him. So we got down there safe, and we're doing the event. We're doing it. It's literally like an all day and all night thing. And it's just crazy. Like it's literally 10 or 11 in the afternoon till 11 o'clock at night. Foo Fighters are the last act of the night. So we're going through it. There's a rainstorm where we got soaking wet shoes, and we're standing in mud, and I'm miserable. Kurt and I want to leave. And, we end up sticking through it, riding it out, and just it's a once in a lifetime show. I mean, Gary Clark Jr., Hart, Joan Jett, Buddy Guy, LL Cool J, Trombone Shorty, there was just an endless amount of acts that just from the beginning, like it was a festival all one day to celebrate and commemorate the Foo Fighters. So, that night ends and we're on our way back to the hotel room and we're all starving. We're like zombies because I take pride in being a frugal Freddy. I'm like, we go to a sport like recently I've been better, but like back in those days, we went to a Firefly back in the day that was literally all day long. I didn't spend a single dollar on drinks or food. People buy a water bottle, I take a sip here. People buy a snack, I take a but I was like, I didn't spend $1. How amazing is that? So the 20th anniversary comes around. We're in DC. We're in a little pocket, definitely pretty hood. A little foreign land for some of the members of Jenny's online tribe. Me, I got a little bit of street cred. I'm well versed, so I'm not entirely worried. Besides the point, I don't know why I went there, but we were hungry. We started off by looking at Wendy's, and Wendy's was an option, but their drive-through looked to be open, but we didn't have a car, and the inside was closed. So we sauntered down, and Jenny feasted her eyes on the prize that was McDonald's. And long story short, for some reason she ordered a double patty burger, which I thought was just ludicrous at the time. I didn't know like anything about a smash burger, which was foreshadowing, years to come. The smash burgers became a thing, but I always thought like eating one patty is more than sufficient. How do those like? I always just had this thought like Super Size Me, the documentary, like those are the people that eat double patties. Like you have to be morbidly obese and disgusting with multi chins and just that. So when I watched my beautiful sister, who gave birth to two wonderful children, Bobby and Olivia, I'm just watching this wonderful mother, this beautiful woman, just devour and just slobbering all over it and just eating it and making it her bitch. And I was like, wow, you're the double patty assassin. And I just started making all these jokes and about how you're just destroying two patties at once. Like, how do you do it? And where did you get these powers to be able to handle two patties at once? Normal mortal men like me can only handle one. And here you are scarfing two. And, maybe it's because she had two kids. She had double the energy and she could handle the double. I don't know. But, one name morphs into the other name. So not many people are going to make it out alive after eating a double patty and just live to tell another day unscathed. Jenny, my sweet sister, was another one of those numbers, just another number. She had ingested, digested, eaten, sitting there relaxing, and the double patty assassin had morphed into a beast that we weren't sure what she was yet. And you know what I identified her as? The Nightbeast. She just started farting and burping and sneezing and hiccuping. And I was just like, I started hearing a couple noises and I was like, what is that beast? And like, I just saw her and she like turned her head in the night and I was like, Nightbeast. So that name has stuck and, you know, she'll live to tell her tale and live to tell her side one of these days, but just gotta, I just wrote off on the calendar to make it official to go down and see them. I'm gonna go do a Phillies game in June, Phillies Mets, and then head to Wildwood the next day for my little summertime beach excursion at the Jersey Shore and do some boardwalk bike rides with the three generations of Nardi men and get to be with my sister Jenny and hopefully get my sister Sass to come down because last year we were able to coordinate. My sister Sass was there, I was there, and we all went out on a boat ride and I drank my first ever White Claw. I fell off the boat. Like it was tremendous. So hoping for more of that. And then the Nardis so graciously invited me on their ski trip out to Park City, Utah. So I'm doing that next January, and I couldn't have anything more exciting to look forward to in my life right now, other than the Eagles potentially getting back to a Super Bowl. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, I've been out west one time. It was with the Nardi clan. The best trip of my life, honestly. I mean, the amount of conditions that worked out in our favor and just everything and the legal weed and drinking, weed cough syrup in the morning and just getting fucked up, forgetting my lift pad. Like it was just incredible. And, I'm hoping this time around at Park City, it'll be even better. Everyone will be a year or two older, a year or two wiser. I'll be, rusty from snowboarding. It'll be another, 2-year gap, but some things, some people can just pick up and like they never left. And that's kind of me with snowboarding. And I'm hoping that's going to be able to translate into the golf game. I went 2 times this last week and I'm really making an effort. I recently went to a a little store on 41 here in Florida called the Golf and Casual Shop. And let me just say right now, tremendous. These guys gave me such good customer service. I walked in. Now, granted, I will say I had to wait a little bit until I was greeted. And you guys, I brought it up before. You know how I feel about that. Some someone who used to work in customer service and retail, all the shit you can imagine. I always believed in right when someone walks into a bar, a restaurant, a retail establishment, you greet them right away. I would have some people come up to me, yo, don't say hi right away. You're making them feel weird. Making them feel weird. I'm literally just doing a common gesture. I'm just waving and saying, hey, how you doing today? And like when I worked at a video game store, a couple of my coworkers would be like, dude, if you just say hi to people right away, they're just gonna think you're trying to sell them stuff. I'm like, A, I am trying to sell them stuff, and B, like you, when you work these day jobs, like I'm so amazed at some people. Any job I have, I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna make the best out of it. I've just really grown to love sales. I think I've gotten very good, and you know, I can't imagine what I would like things I'm passionate about, how good I'd be at selling them, like a bidet, for instance. Um, but like tools, I don't know anything about. I mean, the company I'm repping, I enjoy. It's all the hand tools are made in America, and I appreciate that. And obviously, the more you sell, the more you get paid. So there's that. But when you have a real passion about something, I find that it just makes everything more enjoyable. And my passion is just making people laugh and making people happy. So if someone walks in the store and I say, "Hey," that makes them feel better. I feel better, and now it's just a better interaction. And I think I'm kind of a testament to that because, like I just said, I work for a company selling tools that I don't really know anything about, but I've made a very concerted effort to show up to people every week, to be consistent, to make them laugh, to make them feel good and appreciated. And your boy's sprouting a little bit, starting to sprout. So we got the golf game that's really making a concerted effort. Like I said, I went to that shop. I upgraded all my irons, got a used but new iron set, the Ping G30s. I'm starting to hit some flops that I never thought I'd be able to hit, some chips that I'd never be able to hit. Some of my tee shots with my 7 iron have been just magical, and some of them have been terrible. I played on Sunday in the morning. Just had the craziest wind conditions that you could ever imagine, but it kind of helped me adapt and overcome and try to learn little micro adjustments, if you will. So, man, it's all good. The morale is good right now. I was pretty excited to get on here and do this. I didn't even eat all day. I just jumped right from work, FaceTime my dad, and got right on here and set up in my little makeshift studio. So, go Birds. I'm not going to shy away from being a fan. And part of being a fan like this is enduring the moments of good and riding with the moments of bad. And yeah, we're down right now, guys. For my fellow Eagles fans, I know we are, but we're going to get through it together. I promise you that. The off season will be interesting to see exactly how they're going to handle all this, but I mean, we still have roster wise a lot of talent, and I just, man, I said talking about it was going to make me get over it, and no, it's not. But that was fun for me to do, and I'm gonna try to keep coming out with some of these sporadically, but as best I can. Can pretty. It's a pretty safe assumption to say I won't really be doing any guest episodes until I get back up and running with a little bit more equipment, a little more space. So solo episodes once a week, once every 2, 3, 4 weeks right now. I'm gonna come on when I feel like I have enough things to talk about or something funny and see if I can kill enough time. And thank you guys for listening. Be patient with me. I'm gonna keep churning them out. So let's ride. Verbal garbage out.